Thank you for staying with us. We start with this. The Pietermaritzburg High Court has struck down Royal AM's 27 million rand sponsorship agreement with Msunduzi Municipality, ruling it unlawful and ordering repayment. The deal signed in 2021 provided 9 million rand annually, but was paid up front, violating proper financial oversight. The Democratic Alliance challenged the sponsorship, citing the Municipal Finance Management Act and wasteful expenditure. To chat about the sponsorship aspect, I am joined by an expert in the field, Stuart Masela. Stewie, thank you so much for waking up bright and early to come talk to us about all these numbers and money and, trying to help us, unpack what's been going on in this a very, very strange situation, but one that you're not surprised about?
Yeah, no, definitely. Good morning. Definitely not surprised about it. I think sponsorship, it's a business deal. And a lot of people just think, nah, we will just sign this thing quickly. I think you need to get the lawyers in. You need to make sure that what you are doing is aligned to corporate governance, So these things just shows a whole lot of stuff that's not supposed to happen, And there are a lot of people, there are a lot of businesses that actually specializes in this that could have advised either Mamkize or even the municipality to say, if you're going to do this, this is what it means, And it's very strange to pay a 3-year sponsorship upfront, because normally things like this you pay on a yearly basis, yeah.
But some might be surprised and said, hey, you've given me this 27 million rand sponsorship. Give me my money. Why must I pay it back? Is there a difference between sponsorship, donations? Why am I paying this money back?
Yeah, I think that's where you start. If it was a donation, then it's understandable. You need to plot it as a donation. But for a sponsorship, any company or anyone who puts money for sponsorships expects something in return, right? So the returns, they are varied. I think the most common one is that people will say, you've got your brand out there. That's the most common one. But it's like breathing. When you put money, you expect to get that. But there's more to sponsorship than just awareness, than just the brand awareness. What is that you want to do? Can you derive some commercials out of it? And if those things are not set out properly, then it's a donation. And unfortunately, in my view, the Royal AM, the way it was structured, or the way it is, it's a donation, it's not a sponsorship, So if they've termed it incorrectly, I think people are right to call for that money back.
And should Mamkize pay this money? When you look at I'm not quite sure if you were able to see the papers from court, but the way it was structured, to you, does it look like more like a sponsorship or a donation?
It is more of a donation because, frankly, what were they doing with the sponsorship mostly, Just from an outside perspective, you could see that all they were doing was just to plugging their brand there. Were they doing something for the municipality in Msunduzi? Most of the time, where was the team playing? It wasn't even in that municipality. It wasn't even there to say it was benefiting the community out of there. Most of their games are played in Durban. So what were they doing as an institution? That's what I'm saying. When someone puts in money for sponsorship, there is something that you get in return, and that has to do with the value of the sponsorship. That has to do with what then impact does the sponsorship give, and having looking at this, and just for the last year, for example, where the team wasn't playing in the Betway Premiership, what were then the returns? Those are the things that you look at to say, when you draft a contract, a sponsorship contract, what are the penalties, what are the bridges, and how do you fix that? If you don't have all of those, then yeah, you're not doing sponsorship the right way.
So you're saying if I am a sponsor, I have the right to recall my money back if I'm not getting value for my money?
Obviously, yes, because you're always saying to them, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need to achieve. So sponsorship, it's pretty much a partnership, right? Where you know that party A puts in money, party B receives the money, but party A is going to gain 1, 2, 3, 4, and the sponsorship that will work mostly are when those parties work together to achieve both goals. So if my goal, for example, was just brand, and I achieve the brand, you can show me in return to say, you've put in X amount, and this is what value you got from a brand perspective. But in this day and age, I don't think no brand, unless you are a completely new brand that's coming up that wants just to sponsor. But nowadays, brands are doing it for commercial value as well, or even to do some CSI with the sponsorship, yeah.
But it looks like Royal AM got this deal quite easy. I mean, you worked at ABSA when they were sponsoring the league at that time. Was it that easy to just be the client and say, here's the money? Or how intricate is this process of acquiring the sponsorship? Because you look at some of the teams in the top flight football, they're struggling to get sponsors. How easy or difficult is that communication process and signing of the deal?
Yeah, so yeah, it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing because you're bringing two brands together, firstly. Secondly, both brands have got their own objectives in terms of what they need to achieve, right? So you need to go through that process properly. You need to be able to say, as a sponsor, this is what I expect of you, right? So if I go to a team, for example, and say I'm going to sponsor a team, am I going to get an X number of tickets that I can use, the tickets that I can use for my own clients, the tickets I can use for my potential clients? Am I going to get an opportunity to use the team name and the team brand? You know, am I going to get an opportunity to entertain some of my clients and do all those things? So there are a number of things that you put together, right? That's why the sponsorship contract is not an easy contract. It's not going to be me and you finalizing it. Also, we are going to get the legal team in. We are going to get the marketing team in to say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get the commercial team in to say, what can we achieve? Because I could have taken the money and placed an ad on a newspaper, right? And I get the same review. But if I don't do that, if I put it in a sponsorship, I also need to put in a lot of money to leverage the sponsorship to make sure that I get what I need to get in return.
And we look at sports sponsorship as a whole, even in South African sport, particularly Banyana Banyana. They struggled for a very long time to get a sponsor. They got Sasol, who is currently their sponsor. And there's a back and forth between SAFA and Banyana Banyana in terms of are they getting their money's worth? Because I remember Sasol was saying the girls are not satisfied in the way the money is being spent on them, and they were threatening to pull out. In situations like that, how much power does the sponsor hold?
I think it's about relationship, and it's also what it's contracted, firstly. But secondly, you know, the Sasol sponsorship, I think it's a good example to look at, because from an eyeballs perspective, you know, we all know that women's sport was not given that much attention, you know. But Sasol was there in the beginning, developing, putting together structures. You know, Sasol was doing a lot of work up to buying kits for the teams to play, right? So over time, that has paid off. When then Banyana went to play the Olympics, when Banyana went to play the World Cup, when Banyana won AFCON, you know, that return, you're starting to see it now, but it's an investment sponsorship. So you can't expect that you sponsor today and you get the results tomorrow. You know, over time, it's a process that you work over. So with Sasol and Banyana, and hence Sasol was saying what they could say, it's because it's important that what you've contracted with them, you know, they deliver on your behalf. And unfortunately, it's that when a team is sponsored, like Banyana is sponsored with Sasol, and the association or SAFA is not responding, the public is going to go to Sasol and say, what's going on? Which shouldn't be happening, because the team does not belong to Sasol. The team belongs to SAFA. Yeah. But Sasol has played such an integral part in that sponsorship. Yes. And that's what makes a sponsorship valuable. When you've partnered with someone over a long period of time, then it starts bearing fruit, and people are seeing Sasol as owning the team, not SAFA.
Yeah. And just lastly, in bullet point form, short answer, what can we learn from the sponsorship deal between Royal AM and Msunduzi Municipality?
What you can learn is that you need to know, as a brand, I think, let's look at both. As a brand, you need to know why you're getting into the sponsorship, what you need to benefit out of the sponsorship. It's important that you do that, right? And you contract it properly. As a rights owner, you need to know what you are selling to me as a sponsor. Can you deliver on what you're saying you are going to sell? and how do you help my brand grow?
Yeah.
If you do that, then you're going to have lasting sponsorships every time.